everybody. So in this lesson we're going to learn about the verbs in Turkish language. I'm going to talk about the infinitive form of the verbs, the positive and negative forms, and how they have different suffixes. I'm also going to tell you about the correct use of those suffixes, and by the end a short summary of everything that we learn in this video. So to begin with, let's first look at 4 very common and simple verbs in Turkish language. Konuşmak, meaning to speak. Dinlemek, meaning to listen. Yemek, to eat. Uyumak, to sleep. Now, one thing that's very common in all 4 of these verbs is that they have a definite ending. It's either mak or mek. And here also, it's either mak or mek. This ending is basically known as the infinitive ending. And in Turkish, the suffix for that is mek. And it has 2 possibilities. It's either mek or mak. We're going to further explore this concept in this video, but let's first look at what an infinitive is. An infinitive is a very basic form of a verb that usually follows the word to. It is the very basic dictionary form of the verb. So to any verb, when you add the word to, you get the infinitive form of the verb. For instance, sleep. Now, sleep itself is a verb, but when you add the word to it, you get the infinitive form of the verb. Infinitive is actually a whole different topic that's very detailed and has various types as well. But all you need to know for this video is that an infinitive is a very basic dictionary form of the verb that has the word to added to it. Now, let's look at some Turkish examples. Uyu means sleep. When you add the infinitive suffix to it, you get the word uyumak, which in Turkish means to sleep. Dinle, listen. When you add the suffix, infinitive suffix to it, mek, you get dinlemek, to listen. Now, how do we know if it's either going to be mak or mek? That depends on the rules of two-way vowel harmony. And I did prepare a separate video for that as well. I'm going to leave down the link of that video in the description box so you can refer back to that as well. So according to the rules of two-way vowel harmony, which is also known as the E-type vowel harmony, we consider the very last vowel of the word root, which in this case here is, the word root is git and the last vowel is I. So first you're looking at the word root, which in this case is git, and then you're looking at the very last vowel in that, and that here is I. So according to the rules, since I is one of the front vowels, we're going to use the E form of the verb, of the suffix. We're going to use the E form of the suffix. So, git mek, the E form. Let's look at the other example, bakmak. The word root, bak, the last vowel, A. A is one of the back vowels, so we're going to use the A form of the suffix, which is mak. So it's going to be bakmak. Gitmek, but bakmak. Now I know this does sound very complicated when you initially start learning this concept, but it's not that difficult. As you start to learn, practice, and speak Turkish, it kind of becomes a second nature. It kind of becomes automatic. There is no more conscious thought into if it's going to be the A form or the E form. It's actually the more harmonious form. Gitmek. You see how gitmak, it doesn't sound very harmonious. So it's going to be gitmek and bakmak. Okay, moving on, we're going to look into some other examples. Ver. Ver in Turkish means give. When you add the infinitive suffix mek to it, you get vermek. And why did we use the E form? Because we're considering the word root, which is ver. The word root is ver, and the last vowel is E, which is again one of the front vowels. So it's going to be the E form of the word, of the suffix. We're going to use the E form of the suffix. So vermek. Oku, read. Infinitive suffix mak, okumak, to read. Yürü, walk. Yürümek, to walk. Now let's look at the negative form of the verbs. In Turkish, the suffix for negative verbs is me. And it has two possibilities, me or ma. Let's look at some examples. Uyu means sleep. The negative suffix ma, you can consider this means not, because it's the negative of the verb, so not doing something. Uyu, sleep. Ma, uyuma, not sleep. Mak, mak means to. So uyuma mak, do not sleep. Dinle means listen. Dinleme means not listen. Dinlememek means do not listen. Now again, how do we know if it's going to be the A form or the E form of the suffix? That again depends on the rules of two-way vowel harmony. If we're again going to consider the very last word root and the vowel I. So since I again is one of the front vowels, we're going to use the E form of the suffix. So it's going to be git, me, mek. Now, one interesting thing that I'm going to tell you is that we're always considering the last vowel for the next suffix. So this here, may, we're using the E form of the suffix because the last vowel here is I, which is one of the front vowels. And again, here we're using the E form of the suffix because the last vowel now here is E, which again is one of the front vowels, so we're using the E form of the suffix. Turkish is very harmonious, so for every suffix we're going to look into these rules. Now here, bakmamak. Bak, the word root, the last vowel is A, which is one of the back vowels. So we're going to use the A form of the negative suffix, which is going to be ma. Bak, ma. Now again, the last vowel is A, which is again the back vowel. So the A form of the infinitive suffix, bak, ma, mak. Do not look. It is complicated, but as you start speaking, it becomes very natural. You don't have to worry about that. Okay, so let's look at some other examples. Ver means give, negative suffix verme, the infinitive suffix vermemek, do not give. Oku, read. Okuma, not read. Okumamak, do not read. Yürü, walk. Yürümemek, do not walk. Now let's go through everything that we learned in this video, a short summary. So we talked about positive infinitives and negative infinitives. And in Turkish, the suffix for an infinitive is mek. The capital E denotes that it's E-type vowel harmony and that it has two possibilities, the A form and the E form. So in Turkish, when you add this infinitive suffix to the verb root, you get the infinitive form of the verb. For example, gel, which is the verb root, when you attach this infinitive suffix to it, you get gelmek, to come. Now, in case of negative infinitives, we discussed that in Turkish, the negative suffix is me. And this capital E again denotes that it's going to have two forms according to the rules of two-way vowel harmony. It's either going to be the E form or the A form. So, to any verb root, when you attach this negative suffix, which is me, and then attach the infinitive suffix, which is mek, you get the negative infinitive of the verb. For example, it's going to sound simpler with an example, I suppose. So, gel, the verb root, me, the negative suffix, mek, the infinitive suffix, gal me mek, do not come. Okay, let's look at some other examples. Here we're going to compare the positive and negative infinitive side by side. So for the verb root, yap, which means do in Turkish. Positive infinitive, yapmak, to do. Negative infinitive, yapmamak. Yapma, not do, yapmamak, do not do. Söyle, say. Söylemek, to say. Söylememek, do not say. Bak, look. Bakmak, to look. Bakmamak, do not look. Öğren, learn. Öğrenmek, to learn. Öğrenmemek, do not learn. I hope this video was helpful for you. Continue learning with me.